Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the procedure for checking a textbook out to a student on RenWeb. And what I have right here is a Earth Science textbook. This is from middle school. And if you'll notice on the inside of the book, so I can put this where you can see it really well, there is a barcode. Okay, and on this barcode, it's going to have our school's name. It's going to have the number in the series. This is book 46 of this particular book. And then also a barcode, and you'll see the number here is 3923. Okay, now let's say that I'm a teacher and I have this book, and this book exists in my classroom set right now. Maybe it's the beginning of the year, but this textbook needs to be checked out to a student. And so let's take a second here. We're going to move over to a RenWeb screen, and I'm going to explain the process of checking this textbook out to a student and checking it back in from the classroom set. Okay, so let's switch over now. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the main part of RenWeb, where we navigate to different parts. And of course, here at the Prep Campus, this is what we use. Elementary faculty, I know, use the web version exclusively, which we may move to at some point. But for right now, this is similar to what you would see. And so let's take a look again at the procedure for checking out a book. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go right here to Report Manager, and I'm going to click there. And on the left-hand side, we're going to go to where it says Library. Now, inside of Library, we've got a lot of different items. So what we're looking for here is Textbook Check In, Check Out. Now, you'll notice there's not a place to click OK or anything like that. And this is one of the weird things about RenWeb. We're actually going to come down here and click Print. Now, recognize that we're not actually printing a report, but we're using the print button to get to the next screen. I know it doesn't necessarily make sense, but that's the procedure here. Now we've got a choice: textbook setup, check, out, or in. Okay, we don't ever need to mess with textbook setup as faculty. Nancy is going to take care of that for us, so we're going to check out, check in. Okay, now here's where this can get a little bit confusing. The textbook that I'm talking about right now, which is that Earth Science textbook, and again, that number for this particular book is 3923. Now, right now, this textbook is checked out to the classroom set, our imaginary student out there that holds all of our books. And so one of the things that we need to do is get a good understanding of what's actually happening there. So I'm going to click on one of my classes here, and I'm going to show you the classroom set. Okay, inside of all of our classes, what I did is I clicked class here, and I went and found one of my current classes. Everybody has this student, Z Classroom Set. Now when I click on Z Classroom Set, you're going to notice that there are a lot of books checked out to Z Classroom Set. We do this because it allows us to see all of the textbooks that are in our inventory that are not checked out to a student. So right now, all of these books are checked out, but they're checked out to this imaginary student Z Classroom Set. This is kind of our running record. We do this because RenWeb doesn't necessarily have a good way to keep track of the textbooks that aren't checked out to students. So since this is checked out to a student, this book, this 3923, this Earth Science book, we have to check it back into the general school library. So I'm going to put in 3923. Now I have to first check it in. And I know that sounds not rational here, but remember, it's currently checked out to an imaginary student. So I have to check it back in. Okay, so I'm going to type in 3923 and I'm going to push enter. Now that book is checked in now. Now it's important that we don't leave books checked in, because if they're checked in, we don't necessarily have a record of where that book is. So that's why we always have them checked out somewhere, either to a student or to one of the Z classroom set or Z non-existent, okay? We'll get into Z non-existent later. Now that this book is checked into the system, I'm going to go pick a student who I want to check it out to. In this case, I'm going to check it out to Claire Thompson here. Now I'm going to click on check out, and I'm going to retype in that number, 3923, and I'm going to push enter. And you'll notice that she received that book, 3923. Now she already has one because she's in that particular science class right now, but now it shows that Claire Thompson has that book. Okay, now I'm going to do the opposite here now, and I'm going to check it back in as if we were checking it in at the end of the year. So at the end of the year now, Claire Thompson's returning this book, 3923. So I'm going to check in 3923, push enter, and you'll notice it goes away from her list. So at this point, it's just out in that general library again, which we can't track. So we need to check it back out to this imaginary Z classroom set student. So I'm going to click on this student right here, and I'm going to go to check out, and I'm going to do 3923, push enter. Now there's so many books that are checked out to this imaginary student that you don't necessarily see it pop up right away, but it would be there if I went and explored. Now it's important to check it out to Z classroom set immediately after checking it in from a student. You need to resist the urge to set the books aside and come back and do them all again. It's much easier just to go ahead and check it right out to Classroom Z as soon as you check it in from a student. That way we don't forget to check that book back out to Classroom Z set, and that way we always have an accurate record of where our books are. So what we've done today is we've looked at a textbook barcode. We have navigated to the textbook checkout, check-in part of RenWeb, and we have seen that we have to first check a book in from Z Classroom Set, then check it out to a student for that student to take possession of that book. And then on the opposite of that, when we are checking a student textbook back into the system, we check it in from the student and then immediately check it out to Classroom Z Set. Now really quickly, I'm going to show you what will happen if we don't do it right, because it actually won't let you do it incorrectly. So let's say that I take that same book, the Earth Science 3923, and I want to check it out to Claire. So I go 3923. It says you can't do that. The book is assigned to another student. Now technically the book is not assigned to another real student, but since I didn't check it back in from Classroom Z, it is checked out to that imaginary student. Remember, that's the way we keep track of things. So if you see this, that means that you made a mistake. Usually it means that you didn't check it back into the system first from Z Classroom Set, then to the other student. Sometimes this will pop up because it's actually checked out to a real student. The way that you would be able to know that, if you saw that message and then you went to Z Classroom Set and tried to check it in, it might say this student doesn't have that book. And really what that means to me then is that particular book that I'm dealing with is actually currently checked out to a student right now. And most likely that student probably left that book in my classroom at some point and got put with my classroom set. The easiest thing to do at that point is to go and scroll through your classes. So right now, I would say I only have 4 classes, so I'm going to pick my Q1 class, which isn't in session right now, so that one's not going to work. But if you were to pick just a class that you have currently, you can quickly check through these particular students, see all their books, and just do a quick click through and try to find who has that book number. That's the easiest way. It will take a little bit of time, but it's worth it, I think, to find what student is supposed to have that book. Because oftentimes that student probably has a book, but it may not be their book. it may be one of your classroom set books. And so it'd be good to go ahead and get that straightened out as soon as possible. If you have any questions, you can ask myself, or you can talk to Nancy Kaysen, or there's plenty of people on campus who've done this a lot and feel really comfortable with this particular procedure. So I hope this was helpful to you in terms of looking at how to check in and check out a textbook. And my next video will talk about the new Z non-existent and why we have it.